Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last part we started off the game and fought Garland, and now we're going to continue on the new continent that we got from crossing across the bridge. And our first stop is actually to head into a cave just north of here. This is Matoya's cave. We're coming in here for a couple reasons.
So is this a place you normally wouldn't go later in the game, or like do you access this later on in the game, or?
You have to come here. By the way, to select B Hasup, that's push B select backwards. That's something we'll get into momentarily. Matoya here, first off, she has a couple of chests in here. Apparently, we'll find out as we talk to her, her crystal orb is missing. A big part of Final Fantasy 1 is that, for the first part of the game, there's this big kind of trade quest going on that you need to solve. And we need to find her crystal ball in order to progress on with her.
Oh no, not another is this another, like, fetch quest from Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door?
Somewhat. It's very easy, though, because it's all fairly regulated in terms of where everything is. Because you need to go to all these locations anyway. Anyway, this is what pushing B and select at the same time does. It gives you the world map. Fun fact, Final Fantasy Duodecim Dissidia, the sequel to the original Dissidia, uses this as its story mode world map.
So it looks like all the continents are... No, they're not connected, but they look very close.
They are very close to being connected. In fact, it's on this continent due to the way that the because we're on the southwestern continent at the moment. There is a peninsula on this continent called the Peninsula of Power, which has two tiles on it that are on the northeastern continent's environment tiles, technically. So you can actually do some level grinding from some zombies there. Anyway, first new enemy of the part is a mad pony, known as Crazy Horse in later translations. 64 HP, no real elemental affinity or attacks to worry about.
You know, I think that's the same exact sprite, except just a little bit, pixelated with like 64 with a 32-bit. No, 16-bit. It's Final Fantasy VI. It has the same look in terms of the ponies.
I wouldn't be surprised if they based off the same art, because Yoshitaka Amano did do the work for this in 6. At least in terms of the sprite work. The overworld sprite work for 6 was, I think, the Nomura art.
I love the fact that you made a whole bunch of references with the names. That's amazing.
This is the only game I'm going to be able to do that in, because from here on out until... Yeah, actually from here on out, all the characters do have canon names, like in 2 and such. Anyway, next new enemy is Creep, known as a Giga Swarm in later translations. 56 HP, it's weak to fire and resists nothing.
Giga Swarm. That sounds like... It sounds like the Slurm from 6.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Slurm from 6 was called something, a Giga Swarm in later translations. Considering how Ted Woolsey did the translation for that game.
Oh.
Oh, Ted Woolsey, I love you. Son of a submariner!
Submariner, sir.
I immediately think of the Marvel character, so that's why I say Submariner. Anyway, next new enemies are Grey Wolves, known as Warg Wolves. 72 HP, no elemental affinity. They often attack in packs with the normal wolves or themselves, though, so watch out for that.
You know, it seems like, apart from this game, in 12, it seems like only 1 to 4 enemies can attack you all at once.
Pretty much. I think this game, and I want to say 2, have the most enemies that can attack you at once, of course, apart from 12. Due to the fact
Abastiels, and mines!
Mostly because of the way the sprites are in this game. When you have small sprites like this, you can have up to, I want to say, 9 enemies attack you. If they're bigger, probably around 4. Also, that's one thing annoying about this game. If you kill an enemy and someone else is targeting it, the secondary person's attack will not go through at all because there's no auto retarget. It's the same way in 2, but 3 would fix that, thankfully.
Yeah, and they'd also have one of the most broken classes introduced, the Dragoon.
I actually never really used the Dragoons much, except for the Garuda fight. I always tend to stick with, actually, what do I stick with in 3? I don't remember. I know I get ninjas and sages up as soon as I can once I get to the final area.
Sages are so overpowered.
Yeah. Also, one thing I need to comment on is the battle theme for this game. It's very short and repetitive, but at the same time, it's actually one of my favorites for some reason. I guess they did that because if you're going to be hearing it so much, it might as well be catchy, but...
Yeah, as I said in the last one, I really, really wish that the boss theme and the final boss theme were different from the normal battle theme. Because I think this is a little bit anticlimactic, but to be fair, this is the first Final Fantasy game, so I should really give it some slack.
Yeah, the later versions of the game would fix that. At least I know the PlayStation version onwards do. I'm not sure about the WonderSwan version. Because I never had a WonderSwan. Anyway, welcome to our next town. I forget what this place is called. Let me check my notes. I don't recall. Provoca. This is Provoca. Anyway, you can talk to people around here. You can learn some things. Namely, there's a group of pirates here that are apparently causing some trouble, so we're gonna need to deal with them momentarily.
Is it strange that this place somehow reminds me of Troya from 4?
No, I can see it due to the big water gimmick. Anyway, here are the pirates. Hi, I am Vicky the pirate, and surprised that I don't, language failing.
Oh my god, one somehow does double team and turns into 9.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, the pirates here have 6 HP, really weak, actually, and have no elemental affinities. This, I believe, was actually given boss music in later versions. In fact, I think these were technically considered different pirates, but it's been a while since I played anything from the later versions. Yeah.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. The one thing about the pirates, though, is that they are technically considered water enemies, I believe, in terms of the encounter domain. So I think they do have high agility, so they might... Yeah, let me check my notes, actually. Yeah, 12 evade. They have pretty high agility for this point in the game. I believe that's high. So, yeah.
12 ability for this point in the game?
I think so. Actually, wait, let me look at the... well, actually, no, maybe not, because, the Warg Wolves we fought earlier had 54 evade. Never mind, these guys just have no chance at all.
Ugh.
I guess that's the reason they throw 9 of them at you, so they can try and make it difficult, but honestly, as long as you have everyone attack, even the White Mage should be able to kill one very easily.
The White Mage, I feel, is really overpowered in this game.
Oh yeah, White Magic's really good in this game. In fact, I forgot to mention, I didn't really mention the... Well, first off, for beating the pirates and talking to them again, which I, for some reason, don't do. There we go. We get the ship. This is actually the earliest in the series you get your secondary mode of transportation, aside from 3. One thing I didn't describe in the last part is what the magics are. Black magic is generally harm magic, like fire, thunder, ice. White magic is support magic, like healing and such. Anyway, I want to do some buying around here in town. First off, at the armor's shop, I want to buy a wooden shield and gloves for Zell, and Zero, I just want to buy the gloves. I do sell off-screen pretty much any unnecessary equipment.
It's interesting. I think after Final Fantasy VI, they never used shields apart from 12. And 10, really.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, there's pretty much no equipment in 8 in terms of armor. 7 just has weapon, armor, and accessory. 9, I think, had some sort of shield, at least a separate equipment slot.
It was technically a glove. It was the Venetia shield. That's the only shield there is in the game. There is no Genji shield. There is only Genji gloves, Genji armor, Genji helmet. There is no other Genji thing. It could have been cool if they added a Genji ring, I think.
Yeah, maybe later translate. I could see them doing that in like a remake or something. Anyway, I just bought ice there because that's going to be useful later. The 3 main elements are generally useful to have around. And weapon shop-wise, I do want to buy a short sword for both Zell and Zero. Later on in the game, I will mention this now, and I'll probably mention it again later on. It'll become to the point where Zell is going to get pretty much the strongest weapon, Zero the second, and so on and so forth. Though, there will be a point later on when Cid will have no weapon at all. We'll get to that later, though, of course, and by later I mean next part, I believe.
Considering kind of how short this game is, but whatever.
Yeah, this game's really short. I think the speed run's less than an hour. I know the fastest Final Fantasy speedrun is, I think, Japanese 3. I think. Anyway,
you
now
just said you know, though.
I'm not sure if it's... Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, now we're in the water. You need to really be careful in the water. Well, first off, new enemy, Sahags, Sahajins in later translations that I don't know why they added the N. 28 HP, resist fire and quake, but they're weak to thunder, and they have 72 evade. Water enemies generally have really high evade at this point, which is kind of dangerous, but it's nothing too bad. Anyway, in terms of where we want to head now, we actually want to head along the coast that we're heading along now, because the next town that I want to go to is in this general direction.
I think Final Fantasy 5 and maybe 4, I can't remember, but I think those are the only games apart from this one where enemies can attack you in places other than out in the field. So like out to sea, enemies can attack you, especially in 5. That's when it's most dangerous.
Yeah, because I'm thinking Final Fantasy 2, I don't think you get a ship at all. You get one in 3, but that's not really much of a threat in the ocean. 4, you never actually get to use the ocean, aside from that one incident with the gigantic sea serpent. 5, yeah. In fact, 5's how you get Big Guard. Oh, Big Guard, I love you. 6, yeah, you don't really use the ocean much in that one. 7, you do, but there's no encounters in the ocean. 8 and 9, yeah.
9, yeah, you do. You do use the ocean in 9 because of the blue.
But I don't think there's any random encounters, right?
Thankfully, no. I'm actually curious as to what enemies you would run into in the ocean.
Ozma, what? Oh no!
Oh, the Velt.
Anyway.
That would be cool if there was like a glitch in 6 where you could make Ozma an enemy in the Velt.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Anyway, welcome to our next place. This is Elfland. I think it's called Elfheim in later translations. As we find out here, apparently the prince here is under a sleeping spell cast by a dark wizard by the name of Astos. Yeah, we need an herb to awaken him. So that's our quest in this part of the area. Yeah, that's English. One thing that this game does that I'm not really much of a fan of, I like that Dragon Warrior 2 did this, is that the castle and town are considered two different entities. The Dragon Warrior series thankfully doesn't do that.
4 and 5 did that.
Yeah, well, 4 did.
4 did.
It didn't do that with Baron. Baron's castle and town were different entities.
No, they were different.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No,
anyway,
you just said they weren't different.
Then I'm misspeaking. Anyway, shopping-wise, there's not much right now. Oh, very shortly there will be. I want to buy an iron nunchucks for Cid, and for Zell I want to buy both the iron shield and the wooden helmet, because those are upgrades. Also, keep in mind that guy there for later, because he does a certain thing.
I have a question about the last town and like why you went to go get the weapons and stuff. I'm guessing that it's because of the encounters you would have gone through in the water, but was there really a point to buying those weapons if you were just going to get upgrades here and it was so close?
Yes, because I don't buy upgrades for all the characters. I didn't get an upgrade for Cid there. I only got an upgrade for Cid here, and he's the only person I got an upgrade for. Armor-wise, I think you might have a point there, though, because I just upgraded the wooden shield to the iron shield. So I didn't even need to buy that shield at all, really. Also, I think that was just me showing off the instance of the glitch with the monk's absorb. Oh, and there's also a funny little Easter egg in this town I might show off later on. If I don't buy the final part, I'll definitely mention it, but it has to do with the gravestone.
Is that the magic store?
Yes, that's the black magic shop. And now we're back over here at Cornelia, because the next area I want to go to is actually in this general direction instead of the other, because there's a certain cave I want to visit that's also a town.
Rally-ho? Or Tally-ho? Yes, Rally-ho.
Hey,
Rally-ho.
You get what I'm getting at. But like along the way, we do run into our last new enemy for the part. Yep, right there. Ogres, 100 HP, no elemental affinity. However, watch out for their attack, because that's pretty high for this point. In fact, watch out for the attack on the Gigasworms earlier, too, because they're pretty powerful for this point in the game. 18 to 36 attack.
Actually, I think I misquoted that. I think it's Rally-ho.
It's Lally-ho.
No, Lally-ho.
Lally-ho. I think it's Rally-ho in 3. Where they mistranslated it, but I don't recall. It's been a while since I played 3.
5. 5, they made a reference, I think it said Lally-ho in that one.
I believe so. But then again, 5 also had a Playboy. I love that Easter egg.
And 9 also had Rally Ho.
Yeah, and 9 also had Tantarium, which is not something I want to think of.
Oh. That darn book. It always got me.
And people wonder why I fear libraries. But with that, we're gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we'll be checking out this cave, which might be filled with short people. See you guys then.